Okay, bath towel, strap. This just comes from my bathrobe. It could be any old thing. Blocks if you have them or want them. Okay, let's start lying down on our backs. And you can choose how you want to rest your legs, maybe feet together and knees wide. Maybe the other way, feet wide, knees in. Maybe knees just floating toward the sky in a neutral position. And I've just been doing this almost every class lately because it feels so nourishing. Let's just take a hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. And let's do our just kind of beginning breath observation here. Just noting where the breath moves into the hands, or if it does or doesn't. And with your next few breaths, let's see if we can just softly expand into both hands as we inhale. And on the exhale, just feel that gentle deflating that takes place. And let's take a few more, keeping the breath full, but also soft, so it's not a big effort. Muscularly, we're staying pretty relaxed. And then with the next few breaths, see if you can expand behind the hands in a way that maybe you just make a little bit more contact with the ground as you inhale and kind of inflate the torso. And let's interlace the fingers in front of the heart space there and just send your arms straight up toward the ceiling. And let's spin the thumbs toward you and then down toward your knees so your palms are facing the sky. And then let's inhale, kind of stretch the palms to try to reach into the sky. Feel your upper back spread open, but keep the head nice and relaxed. And exhale, just relax the arm bones to kind of let them rest into the shoulders. And with your own breath, let's inhale, send the palms and the heels of the hands up to the sky. Back of the skull is still heavy. And exhale, arm bones just rest deep and heavy. And a couple more breaths. And then let's take those hands overhead. And again, just send the palms like you're just reaching them as far away from your feet as you can. Let's sort of lengthen through the tailbone and the pubic bone at the same time. And a couple of long, soft breaths here. And then let's lower the arms down at the sides. Maybe spin the palms to face up and just kind of try to relax the chest open. And then let's pull your feet in toward your bum just a little bit. And maybe lift the toes up, spread the toes out, and then see if you can set them down on the ground, starting with the pinky toe or the fifth toe, and then the fourth and third and second, and the first toe or the big toe. And let's try that again. Lift all the toes up. Just again, feeling yourself connect to the ground. Chances of you actually going one toe at a time are pretty slim, right? But we're just attempting it. So pinky toe or fifth toe, fourth, third, second, and the big toe. Let's do that one more time with all the toes up. Spread them out. Feel the ground under your toes. The fifth, fourth, third, second, and first. And then let's lift both heels up. With your heels lifted, can you feel contact between the big toe ball and the little toe ball? I'm going to kind of actively spread my foot a little bit to try to get both connected and set the heels back down. So let's just lift and lower the heels a few times. See if you can find contact with the big toe ball and little toe ball. It might mean you don't lift your heels up as high as you could. Maintaining that contact might limit how much you lift your heels, but let's do that for now. Kind of just finding the ground under the feet. Okay, and then let's just take one leg at a time up to the sky. You can keep your knees nice and bent so it's not a big shaky effort. And just give me some ankle circles, rolling the ankles and feet in one direction, kind of letting the toes even sort of participate in drawing that circle. And then let's just take those circles the other way. Okay, so then let's set the feet down, and we're gonna do a little bit of a bridging practice here in the beginning of class. So just really feeling the soles of the feet on the ground, toes, balls of the feet, heels. Let's take an inhale in our resting position. And on the exhale, just send the tail nice and long away. The pubic bone kind of hugs in toward the navel. Really feel those feet as you press into the ground, and kind of just lift your hips up as high as it feels all right for now. And just keep that nice solid contact across the bottom of the feet as we roll the spine down, one vertebra at a time. And so maybe as we rest this time, the spine actually rests slightly longer with a little more space. So let's send the tail away, the pubic bone gently hugs in. We feel the feet. Can you feel the big toe ball and little toe ball and the heel? And let's roll it back down. And we're just going to keep rolling, really keeping your focus in the feet. And if you're up for a little bit more, don't do this if you're not ready or you feel like your muscles might get a little crampy. But if you wanted, you could pick the heels up as you roll the spine back down. We'll set the heels down, kind of root down through them as we sweep the tail and roll up. Kind of stretching the knees away from us, the fronts of the hips are opening. Maybe lift the heels, maybe not. And roll the spine down, bring the tail down a little closer to the feet. So we end up a little longer and more spacious. Heels down, kind of root through the heels. Scoop the tail, roll up. Lengthen through the knees. If you want, lift the heels up and roll the spine down. Rooting through the heel bones. Tail lengthens as we roll up. If you want, lift the heels to roll down. Okay, let's take the feet about the width of your mat or a mat and just gently sway the knees side to side and a little bit of windshield wiper knees, allowing the knee that's moving toward the other foot to kind of drag the body off the floor slowly. And you could always take your arms out to a T. You could come into your cactus arms for a little more chest opening. If you're in your cactus arms, let's just Find a gentle sense of heaviness in the bottom ribs. Almost like an imaginary sandbag just sitting there. Okay, so let's come center and just grab onto the backs of the knees. Some of us will find that we have to kick a little bit to make this move happen, and that's okay with me as long as you're not creating any jerky movements in the neck. So let's draw the knees toward the shoulders and take a big inhale. And with the exhale, we're going to bring the chin in and just stretch both the arms and legs as far away from you as you can. And see if the weight of the lower body helps you to just roll up and sit up on your bum. Okay, so from our tall shape here, just drop your shoulders. Your feet should be wider than your hips. So we're going to kind of roll back. Let the back get nice and round and almost stretches out like a hammock. Arms go long and straight. Shoulders are dropped. Your feet are on the floor. And we're going to kind of drag the heels to come down just as smoothly as we can. Inhale, rest, knees toward the shoulders. Exhale, arms and legs stretch as far away from you as you can. Chin comes in. We roll up with as little kick as possible, but also as much as needed. And let's round again, rolling back, kind of stretching the low back like a hammock. Arms are long. We'll drag those feet to come down nice and smoothly. Inhale, knees to shoulders. Exhale, stretch the arms and legs away. Chin comes in. And we sit up nice and tall. Again, round the back. Hang back first. Let your shoulder blades kind of spread apart. Drag the feet to come down. Inhale, knees to shoulders. Exhale, we stretch really far away. Chin comes in. Okay, now let's take a few rolls just for fun. So we've taken a little bit of a kick if that helps you smooth it out a little bit now. But again, just mind your neck. Make sure you're not landing real hard on your back and getting a jerk in the head and the neck. So we'll hold that nice round shape. Okay, so let's come up and just cross those legs in front of you. Yep, you look great out there. You're welcome to put a prop under your bum if you think that would be more comfortable. And let's just take 1 second here to kind of try to center up the rib cage. Personally, mine tends to rest quite forward here. Some of us tend to rest back a little bit. So maybe just take both hands to the breastbone there, or the heart center. And with an inhale, let's lift the chest up into those hands. The chin can drop down. You can see I'm making several chins there. And on the exhale, drop the chest down heavy. And actually go ahead and let the chin come up a little bit. I know that seems counterintuitive. So let's bring the chin and the chest toward each other here. And then let those 2 points move away from each other. The heart gets nice and heavy. So sometimes I'll even use the hands on the heart space here, the breastbone. And as we let the chest drop, I'll almost kind of drag the skin down heavy. Let's do that twice more. Lift the chest, drop the chin. And drop the chest and gently lift the chin. Once more, chin down, chest up. And chest down, chin up a little. Okay, so then try to just, if you could take this image for a moment of the rib cage being like a bell, like a ring, ding forward, dong back. Can we just sit with this position and let that bell just rest centered without trying to poof up, without collapsing, just kind of resting center. Okay, so then let's take your arms out to the sides. Roll the palms and the elbows and the shoulders all back together. Let's take a twist to the right. Okay, keeping the length through the spine, you could just take the fingertips down, get really long through the top of the head, kind of root down through the sitting bones. Maybe it feels good to look over that back shoulder. And let's take a few breaths, sort of just allowing the spinal column to feel like a wind tunnel here, where the breath just travels very smoothly and uninhibited up and down the spine. Maybe the twist could soften with the movement of that breath. And then let's just gently come center. Take the arms out, roll the palms, elbows, shoulders back a little. Ribs still kind of just hanging loose there in the middle. Let's rotate left. Keep those fingertips down when you're done. Find your length, so sit bones rooting, crown of the head floating. Maybe look over the back shoulder, maybe not. And again, just allow the breath to travel up and down the spine, uninhibited. And let's come on center. And however works best for you, let's crawl through to hands and knees. All right, so yeah, you could take, you know, the towel under your wrists if you wanted to decrease the crease in the wrist. You could also have another towel or the towel underneath your knees for some padding if you like. And of course, if you like to use blocks, this is actually the best time to bring them in. So I'll just use all the stuff and you can choose what you like. So wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. So we'll kind of do this with a little bit of focus in the hip and knee musculature today. So let's send the right leg back. And with a straight leg, let's try to kind of lift and lower the heel a little bit. So just kind of finding the back of the hip. If your leg's trying to go out to the side, let's attempt to keep it a little more just in line with the hip behind us. And then just notice when you lift that leg, do you tend to collapse in the mid-back? Like that, which is my pattern you might see. So let's try to keep a little lift in that mid-back and move very much just from that right hip socket. Okay, now let's bend the knee. Same thing, try not to collapse in the mid-back. Let's keep a little lift there and just send the inner foot to the sky. A little pulse, little pulse, little pulse. And now let's send that foot up to the sky, lift the chest up, take a big inhale and back bend. With the exhale, let's pull that right foot through. We're going to attempt to take the foot in front of the hands. You might have to do quite a bit of shimmying to get there, and that is fine. And then let's come forward and leaning into our lunging stretch there. Okay, so with that front foot, maybe just lift the toes, spread them out, set them back down, just wake the foot up a little bit. Let's inhale, lift the heart, let the collarbones fall open. And with the exhale, let's draw back. And with that right foot, let's start by pulling the toes back and then the ball of the foot to flex the foot and roll over the heel. Okay, let's inhale, come forward, kind of spreading the toes as you come down. Exhale, draw back, pull the toes back, and the ball of the foot flexing. I don't care if the knee is straight. Come on forward, spread out those right toes as you set them down. And draw back. And I know it's our first round here, but let's just go for it. We'll come forward, spread that right foot out as you set it down. Tuck the back toes under. Let's lift that knee off. And just use the back foot mostly to rock yourself forward and back, kind of getting that toe stretch underneath you. Okay, now let's kind of find your strength in your high lunge there, or your whatever lunge this is. And then just nice and gently tap the back knee down and lift it back up and try to get all the way to straight. So tapping and lifting. Might be a little shaky as you lower that knee down, but you're just going to do your best to smooth it out. Okay, let's take the back knee down and then slip your right knee back to meet it. And take your blocks out of the way so that we can plant those hands a little forward from under the shoulders. Okay, so let's shift it forward and just take a moment to find this half plank position, right? Where we're not dropping in the middle there. We're kind of lifting those bottom ribs up, finding length from the knees to the ears, and then kind of spread your hands out as if you're gonna spin your arms like that and kind of rip the mat down the middle. Let's kind of just allow the body to pass through the elbows as we come down. Okay, let's try that a couple of times. So we're gonna lift the head and chest. And you know, when I say that, another way to think about it is starting with your skull and then just back bending through the bones of your neck and your upper spine, one vertebra at a time. We come up, find those inner hands, and maybe a little lift under the tummy here. Press up. Let's draw back, bend those toes under if you can stand it. We'll kind of push back to stretch and load those feet a little bit. So let's shift forward. Try to find that half plank, a nice straight line from the knees through the ears. And the elbows are going to just barely permit the rib cage to pass through as we lower. Awesome. Take a moment to find length. Again, we start with the skull and then we just back bend or extend one vertebra at a time. Elbows stay kind of close. We push into the inner hands, kind of find a lift in that mid back as we press up. Draw back with the toes bent under. Load those feet up, maybe push into the hands. Once more. Come forward. Elbows barely permit the ribs to pass through. I know this is hard. Lengthen from toes to crown. Lift the head and chest, back bending. Push and find that little lift in the mid back. Come on back with those toes tucked under to load and stretch the feet. And then this time we'll come all the way down to the tummy and stay there. Nice and long from the knees through the crown of the head. Elbows barely permit the ribs to pass through. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna shimmy back here a little bit. So let's just stretch the arms out in front and let the feet keep lengthening behind us, especially through the middle toes and the middle fingers. Very long, which just kind of lights the body up a little bit. And then let's start to lift one arm in the opposite leg. The head is gonna lift too, so the ear stays next to the arm. And as you come down, like stretch long before you come back down. Let's lift other arm, opposite leg, stretch very long before you come back down to the ground. And just keep alternating there as if the hands are crawling in one direction and the feet are crawling in the other, bringing length and spaciousness to the spine. Okay, let's rest. I'll have you slide those hands next to the rib cage. So hopefully we don't have a big bend in the elbow still like that, but more of a vertical forearm. Okay, let's lift the head and chest. Bring those elbows in a little, kind of push into the inner hands as we come up. Let's tuck the toes under and come on up to downward facing dog this time. Okay, so let's just do a little upper body check. Could you bring your pointer finger mounds into the ground a little bit? Just kind of keep a little sense of grounding there in the inner hand. And could you maybe just apply a little pressure to your fingertips in order to lengthen your arms, not so much to sag the chest, but lengthen. And then let's just pedal those feet. Kind of keep the upper body stable here as we wiggle and shimmy through the lower. And let's melt both the heels down, let the knees be soft. Again, find length from your fingertips out the tailbone. inhale there. Exhale, let's shift forward to plank. Pausing there to find strength. Often we need to send the chest forward through the collarbones a little bit more. Yep, could you bring your neck in line with the rest of the spine? And then bring those knees in under the hips one at a time. Nice. Okay, so let's bring the blocks in underneath the shoulders if you're using them. Certainly don't have to. And then let's start with your left leg. I'll have you just extend it straight back. Try not to let it move out to the side. And then holding that knee straight, let's just kind of pulse the leg up and down a little bit. And I can immediately feel and see in my own body that I go right to that mid-back extension. So I'm going to find a little bit of a hugging up of the bottom rib to the middle back and try to find this movement just from the hip socket, which you can see is, I can't do very much there. Okay, then if you can, if it feels okay, not like your hamstring's going to cramp, you could bend that knee and keep giving a little pulse, kicking to the ceiling, maybe finding the inner foot kind of stretching up. Okay, then let's send that foot up, lift the crown of the head up, take a big inhale and a back bend. And with the exhale, let's pull through, attempting to step in front of the hands. Cool. And then you can walk your hands forward a little bit. We're looking for a pretty vertical shin in this front leg. Okay, so let's spread the toes. Yes. Okay, so let's inhale, lift the chest here. On the exhale, we're going to draw the hips back. And as we pull this left foot back, we're going to start with the toes bending back and the ball of the foot drawing back. We flex, dorsiflex that ankle and just kind of fold forward. As we shift forward, kind of spread the toes as they come down to the mat. Let's inhale, lift and expand the heart open. Collarbones just falling wide. Exhale, let's draw back. Pull back those left toes and the ball of the foot, rolling over the heel bone. The knee can stay soft. As we come forward, we spread those toes out as they land on the ground. And we'll draw back, pulling back the toes, ball of the foot, flexing. Okay, let's come on forward and tuck the back toes under and lift that back knee off and just actually find it all the way straight. Even if you find that your hips lift a little bit, that's fine. Let's just, as smoothly as we can, tap the knee and lift all the way to straight each time. Tap the knee and lift. Can we keep a little sense of length through the spine? You know, it's easy to get a little saggy in the upper body. Let's keep that neck long. All the way to straight. Okay, and then just lower the back knee. Let's slip the left one back to meet it. We'll get these blocks out of the way for now. Okay, so let's take a connecting vinyasa nice and low. So we'll shift forward, find that long line. Elbows are going to barely permit us to pass through. Let's lengthen here from the toes to the crown of the head. We'll lift the head and chest. The elbows are stretching toward the feet. Let's press into those inner hands and lift. Tuck the toes under. Come on up to downward facing dog. Okay, so you can take as many steps as you like here. I'll even invite you to take a hop or a jump later. But for now, let's just walk those feet forward toward your hands and try to step them to the outer hands. I'm going to turn to face the screen now. So we have slightly turned out feet. They're probably a little wider than the hips, hands in the inner feet there. And let's kind of bend the knees. Just stick your butt out a little bit and kind of arch the back. Actually, maybe it's better if I stay this way. Okay, so we're going to kind of send the chest forward, tip your tail up a little bit, take an inhale, And with the exhale, let's round the back and hang forward a little bit. Just kind of relax the head. So of course the breath rhythm doesn't actually matter as long as you're breathing. But instead of just dropping the bum down right here, we're kind of tinkering with widening the knees as we arch the back and round. And drop the bum, arching slightly. Nice. And round. And then I want you to shimmy and adjust the position of your feet however you need to toy with coming down into a low squat, sitting out over those heels. I'm going to bring my feet in a little bit. You could always place a block or two under your bum here, if that makes you a little happier. And then let's just kind of pulse the knees. Inhale with the fingers lifting, the knees come in, rounding the back. Exhale, widen the knees, trying to roll the pubic bone toward the floor. So I don't want you to get too carried away with this chest poof, but think of the pelvis rolling. So let's let the fingers lift and the knees roll in. As we widen the knees, let's roll the pubic bone toward the floor rather than squeezing the mid-back to poof the chest up. Awesome, let's try one more. Knees come in, fingers lift. Widen the knees, roll the pubic bone toward the floor. Spine is nice and long. Okay, let's take the hands down. We're going to try to step back to plank. So come into those arms, step back one foot and then the other. And just see if you can find your nice position there. You can always keep that little bit of a float so you don't feel stuck in your plank. The collarbones kind of broaden so the chest can move forward. Yes, and then let's bring the knees in one at a time underneath the hip joints. Very nice. Okay, so let's take a child's pose. You can go wide knees or knees close together. That's up to you. When the knees are close together, we tend to get a little more rounding in your lower back. So if that space feels or sounds nice, you could keep the knees hugged in. I like to kind of lengthen the arms and stretch down the sides of the back here, but you could pull your arms in or under your forehead if you prefer. And let's just take a few long, soft breaths. Okay, let's shift forward onto the hands and knees. And bring your blocks in. If you'd like to use them, we'll place them right underneath the shoulders. Okay, let's send the right leg back. So let's keep a little hugging up in the mid back of those bottom ribs as we straight leg pulse the heel up behind us. Find your breath. Let's bend the knee, maybe kick up through the inner foot, pulse toward the sky. Try not to back bend or collapse in the mid back. Keep the arms and neck long. Okay, now let's kick the foot up, lift the crown of the head. Inhale, expand into back bend. Exhale, let's pull the foot through, eventually getting that foot in front of the hands, whether you have to do a bunch of scooching or not. And then we'll just lean forward into our lunge. Okay, so you could keep the back knee down if you prefer, and do our flow here of inhaling to back bend, and exhaling to forward bend and flex that foot. If you wanted to make that slightly more athletic, you could pick the back knee up. And here we really need to find both legs. Inhale, stretch through that back heel, the knee is straight, the spine is long. Exhale, we'll kind of coil away from the ground, pulling back through the right foot to dorsiflex it. So let's inhale, find strength in that back leg. It's very straight. Exhale, coil, drawing back, flexing the front foot. Maybe softening the head and shoulders. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, so let's find our lunge. Walk your hands to your left and pivot on your feet until all 10 toes are pointing forward. I brought my blocks right with me. You could, of course, be on the ground if you prefer. Let's just go straight arms to support the upper body. Let's try to keep those feet parallel and bend one knee at a time. So if it's okay, I'm gonna turn around and my butt's to the screen. So if it's okay, I'll have you bend into the one leg and kind of catch the inner foot over there. Make sure to stay strong in the knee there. So we're gonna shift, knee stays strong, kind of catch the inner foot on the mat. Nice. Okay, so I'll have you walk your hands back to your right foot. So one hand would be on either side of it again. You just pivot on the feet. So you choose, take the back knee down and then the front one. So you end up in hands and knees, or step back to plank. Take a moment there to find your strength, maybe even a sense of buoyancy in your plank there. And then we'll all bring the knees in under the hips one at a time. Okay, let's discard the blocks. Hands are planted a little forward from under the shoulders. Let's shift forward. Elbows permit us to pass through. And I'm gonna scooch back. Okay, so let's take the arms nice and long at the sides of your body, tops of the hands resting on the mat. And you'll just turn your head to one side, letting the neck rotate, and just soften in here. Just let your shoulders slump off your back. Relax into the ground. Okay, so we're nice and soft and passive here. Let's just slowly wake the body up by kind of stretching the arms and legs long. We'll lift the head and chest, just looking at the mat in front of us. And then try to spiral your palms to face out to the sides, and then keep spinning them back and toward the ceiling. See if that helps you lift up a little higher. And then we're going to come down, setting down the tops of the hands, rest the other cheek on the mat, and just rest. Okay, lengthen the arms and legs, lift the head and chest. The thumbs spin out to the sides and then back toward the ceiling. The chest should open. Good. We come back down, tops of the hands rest, other cheek comes to the mat. Lengthen the arms and legs, lift the head and chest, spin the thumbs out and then back. And come on down, other cheek down, tops of the hands down. Okay, one more time. Lengthen the arms and legs, lift the head and chest, spin those thumbs back. Now, can you hold the back bend? Plant your hands next to your rib cage. Find those inner hands as we push through hands and knees. Tuck the toes under, then lift on up into a downward facing dog. This time, if you like, you could take the feet wide. Again, find your fingertips, the inner hands to lengthen the spine. And then maybe windshield wiper those knees side to side. Sorry, those heels, not knees. And just kind of find that long stretch up the side body. Make sure you're not slowly moving toward a plank, although that would be fine. If you want to stay stretchy and supported, you could be in down dog. Okay, so let's center it up and melt those heels. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Knees can be soft. Exhale, let's roll out to plank. Pausing there, finding strength. Bring your knees in if you like. If you'd like a little challenge here, you could bend one knee, let the pelvis unlevel, and then just switch and switch, kind of walking those knees out. Nice. Okay, find your plank. Maybe find that little bit of buoyancy in that shape. And then let's bring those knees in under the hips one at a time. Awesome. Okay, bring your blocks in if you're using them, right underneath the shoulder joints. Okay, so let's right off the bat here try to find that just little bit of connection of the bottom ribs kind of lifting away from the ground. Let's try to maintain that as we send the left leg back and gently just pulse that leg up. So I'm trying to give you a good example. It's difficult. If you want, bend the knee, kind of kick up through that inner foot and pulse. So it's straight back out of the hip joint, not out to the side. Okay, kick that foot up, lift the crown of the head, big inhale. Exhale, pull that foot through, wherever it makes it, and then we just shimmy and wiggle until it's in front of the hands. So that when we shift forward, we have a pretty vertical shin. Okay, so let's tuck the back toes under. You are welcome to keep the knee down. Inhale forward, exhale back. Or pick up that back knee. Inhale, very much find strength through the back leg. Push the knee all the way straight, lengthen through the crown. Exhale, coiling up and back away from the ground. Front foot is flexing. Inhale, we're shifting forward, but we're also very much reaching back. Exhale, round the draw back. Flex that front foot. See if you can soften the head and shoulders. Once more, inhale. And exhale. Okay, let's find your lunge. You choose, drop the back knee and then take the left one back, or just step that left foot back, finding plank, finding length in plank, and maybe that sense of hovering or buoyancy. All right, let's draw those knees in one at a time. I just realized I forgot a thing. Let's just get right to it. So left foot, sweep it up one more time. Pull it through again. Sorry about that. Pick the back leg up again. And then we need to walk those hands over to the right. Yeah, so first round we went parallel feet, all 10 toes pointing forward. This time let's turn the toes out, heels in a little. And again, just bending one knee at a time, kind of leaning out into a stretch. Also very much finding strength in those legs. And if you're feeling good, you could start to lighten the load on your hands. If you're feeling really good, you could just go no hands. Okay, let's concenter and take those hands down. This means we'll just get extra plank work in. So let's walk the hands back to that left foot, framing it. Okay, so if you want to do the plank work, make sure your arms are real vertical. You could be on your blocks, but if that's scary, because they can topple, you could put your hands on the ground. Let's step that left foot back. This time, take some space between the feet, and like we did in down dog, but now we're going to do it in plank, take those heels side to side like windshield wipers. So the more you lift your hips toward down dog, probably the gentler it's going to be. The more you lower the hips and send the chest forward toward plank, the more demanding it becomes. Okay, let's concenter. Take those knees down one at a time under the hips. We'll discard the blocks for now. Planting the hands just a little bit forward from under the shoulders. Low connecting vinyasa. We shift forward here to our half plank. The elbows barely permit the rib cage to pass through. Let's lengthen from the toes to the crown. Inhale, lift the head and chest to back bend. Exhale, we press into the arms. We'll also find a little lift under the tummy. Tuck the toes under and come on up to downward facing dog. Okay, you can just walk your feet forward to find, you know, this squat stance again, where your hands are on the insides of the feet. If you want to try something a little dynamic with me, take your toes apart and heels together. Inhale, we shift forward to plank. And exhale, we draw back, sitting over those heels. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Maybe that's enough. And then you just walk those feet up to the outer hands. Maybe start to pump the breath. And if you're feeling very spunky, you could try to hop the feet to the outsides of the hands. Okay, shimmy your feet however you like. Take a block or two between your heels if you like. But let's lower down into our low squat. Just keep adjusting those feet until you kind of find your sweet spot. Looks good. Okay, so then we're just gonna let one, actually we're gonna kind of just windshield wiper the knees here. So let both knees kind of shift and sway left and right. Of course, if you find pain or discomfort there, I don't want you to push into it. It's not a huge twist. Nice. Now let's come center and just take 2 breaths. Inhale, knees come in, fingers lift. Exhale, we roll the pubic bone toward the floor as the knees widen a little bit. I wouldn't crank on them. And again, let's inhale, fingers lift, knees come in. Exhale, roll the pubic bone toward the floor, the knees widen, but gently. Okay, let's plant those hands on the ground. You could step back and go right away to hands and knees, or you could step back one at a time to find plank. And if you'd like another plank challenge today, you could start with both feet rocking forward and back, potentially exploring what you can do even with your toes. Okay, is your neck in line with your spine? Are we sagging in the shoulders, or should we spread that upper back just a little more? Awesome. Let's bring those knees in one at a time. And you choose if your knees are together or wide, but let's sit back and take a child's pose. Again, with my knees close together, you can probably see that my back rounds a little more. If I take my knees wide, I'm staying a little more neutral, or in my spine, it's actually sort of extended. Arms are wherever it feels comfortable. Long, full breaths. Okay, let's make our way to hands and knees. And I believe we have time for another round. Oh, not so much. Let's do one more quick round. So let's bring those blocks in, if you're using them, right into the shoulders. Okay, right leg just one time. Let's sweep that foot up, lift the crown of the head. Inhale, expand this whole front line, right all the way down through the front of the leg. Exhale, pull through and shimmy to get that foot in front of the hands. Now you stay put. I'm going to switch sides so that I don't put my butt to the screen. Okay, let's pick up that back leg. You're going to walk your hands to the left until, again, you find yourself in this straddle stance with the blocks under the shoulders maybe, or at least your hands for support. Now this time, just pivot to bring those heels in. So hopefully the stance is a little less wide. And again, you find your sweet spot. I went a little too far there myself for the first time, because I want you to take that bend in one leg at a time again. And if you're up for it, see if you can start tinkering with the idea of your butt sitting down over the heel bone. Now, I know for some of us that seems impossible, where the heel might lift here. That's fine, as long as you're not in pain, of course. And of course, if you're feeling very strong, Again, you could try to do this with no hands. Okay, so let's center it up, take the support in the arms, walk the hands back to your right foot. You're going to frame that foot with your hands. Okay, you choose, take the knees down one at a time, or step that right foot back to find plank. Inhale, let's lengthen. Exhale, just ever so slightly round in your lower back to lift away from the ground. Twice more, inhale. Bring those knees down if you're over it. Once more, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, a slight coiling. And then we'll bring those knees in under the hips one at a time. I'm going to skip the connecting vinyasa to stay within our time frame here. So let's go with your left leg just one time. Kick that foot up, float the crown of the head up. This whole front line, the front of the thigh, front of the hip, front body. Inhale, that whole line opens up. Exhale, pull through. Wherever you make it is fine, but then you're just going to shimmy and wiggle to get that foot in front of the hands. Okay, we'll pick the back knee up. And we'll walk the hands to the right. And then again, maybe pivot those heels in. I want you to find your sweet spot. And just like last round, side to side, just dipping that butt down toward the heel as far as you're comfortable. And some of you might even be able to tap your butt down. Okay. When you're ready next, let's center it up. Walk those hands toward your left foot until you're framing it. One foot on either side, or one hand on either side. And then you can take the knees down one at a time, or step back to plank. And one last time, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, gentle coil under the low belly there. Kind of like a mini cat and cow, except we're not quite sagging the back bend. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, we'll bring those knees in one at a time. Let's get the blocks out of the way. And if you want to use a strap, well, have your strap handy. We all grabbed one. Okay, so let's sweep the legs around however you need to comfortably come down onto your back. Definitely use a pillow or anything you might need to feel good there. It's okay if your band is stretchy. It's also okay if it's not. So let's take your strap and try to wrap it around the bottom of your right foot. And then we'll just take the left leg out long and straight. And just take both ends of that strap into the right hand. Okay, so attempting to keep the pelvis rather still. You'll feel it roll around on the ground. You're going to try to just hold the pelvis relatively still as we circle this right leg and just use the right arm and the strap for some support. So I tend to take my right elbow down on the floor. Makes this part here a little bit easier. Okay, now, if you're not already, let's start making your circle counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. And then as that leg sweeps across the body, let's allow the pelvis to roll over. I'm going to run into the wall there, but you could roll a little further. Sweep out right, crossing over the body, rolling the pelvis over. Okay, now let's take the foot to the sky. Take both of those straps into your left hand. And keeping the right half of the pelvis nice and heavy here. So again, we're attempting to stay level. Let's bring that leg across the body. For some of us, that's pretty intense. So please stop before it gets too crazy. If you want more, you could flex that right foot back. You could move toward a straight knee. Keep relaxing heavy here. Okay, and then let's reach the right arm out to the side, looking toward the hand, and let the foot come across and the pelvis roll. And yeah, I have a wall and some candles over here, so I'm being a little cautious, but you could go as far as your back feels good. And just keeping a little sense of length here to the tail without touching the butt or anything. And let's come on center. Now take both ends of those straps into both hands. Left ankle can cross on top of the right leg, just above the knee. And then let's bend the right leg so both knees are bent, and we're just going to gently hug these straps in toward the chest. You could pulse the stretch. You could hug it in and then take a gentle rock side to side. Okay. Then let's just keep this position of the legs and just drop the strap and forget about it for now. With your right hand, let's take hold of that left ankle. And I guess the right foot could just go down on the floor. So right hand holding left ankle, right foot's on the floor. We're going to tip to the right, so hopefully the left foot can come down to the ground, or you could put your block under there, under the foot. And rather than having the knee fall in toward your chest, let's gently encourage the knee to move away. You could either face the sky or reach and look to the left, a cactus arm or a straight arm. And nice and easy, let's bring everything center. We'll find our strap and make our way to getting it around the left foot. So once you're strapped on your left foot, let's take the right leg out long and straight, just resting on the ground. You want both straps in your left hand for now. And we're attempting for stability or stillness in the pelvis as we circle this left leg clockwise now. You could always take that elbow to the floor for a little more support. Okay, so now we're going to start to let the pelvis roll as the leg sweeps across the body. And then sweep it out to the left, same level. And it sweeps across, we allow the pelvis to roll. Level out to the left. And rolling as we sweep right. Okay, and then we'll float that leg up to the sky. Take both straps into your right hand. Trying to stay level on the pelvis, we float the leg across the body. If you're not getting a lot of stretch, you might have let your pelvis tilt. The left half hugs down. You could flex that left foot for more. You could move toward a straight knee for more. And let's take the left hand out to the left side, looking toward it. We'll let the pelvis roll and the foot go toward the floor. You choose how far is good for you to go. Let's breathe. Maybe find a sense of length throughout the spine and the tailbone. And then nice and easy, let's come center. Then we'll take both ends of the straps into both hands. And lower it enough so you can cross your right ankle just above that left knee. Both knees are bent, and we'll just gently hug the knees in. You could pulse the knees in and out. You could hold in and take a little rock side to side. Okay, so then we're just gonna forget about the strap. Put the left foot on the ground. Left hand could reach for that right ankle. And then we'll tip the legs to the left. Maybe the sole of the right foot comes all the way down on the floor, and maybe you put a block there. You could just face the ceiling. If you reach and look to the right, it increases the stretch a little. And again, rather than letting the knee fall into the chest, we're sort of encouraging it to move away from the body. I'm sure you can feel where that's happening. And let's roll center. Notice lengthen those arms and legs, or prop yourself up however you'd like to make sure you're actually comfortable and able to relax. And we'll just begin to prepare for Shavasana. Connecting with your breath. If you like, you could take the hand to the belly and the hand to the heart. And explore the fullness under the hands, behind the hands, against the ground. And for the next few minutes, maybe we can just give ourselves permission to see everything wait for just a few minutes while we focus on the breath. And let's slowly return to observing the rhythm of the breath. Maybe find some small movements in the fingers and toes hands and feet, and a turn of the head side to side. Whatever sounds nice to you, maybe a long stretch overhead. Maybe knees to the chest, roll out the lower back a little bit. And you choose your way up, maybe rolling forward and back on your spine, or maybe coming to the side for a little moment and snuggle. And of course, let's find our way to seated upright as tall as we can be. And just bring the hands at the heart space for a moment, feeling the warmth and connection there. And just 3 breaths. Just connecting with the constant expansion and contraction that is life. So inhale, and the arms nice and wide, moving away from the heart. And then the exhale, just collect it all in. Honoring your own breath. And the humanity in me acknowledges, honors, and respects the humanity in me.